Good morning to all. In this session, we are discussing about the simple tissue. In the last session, we started with the permanent tissues, and the classification of permanent tissue is into two. That is, one is simple tissue and complex or compound tissue. So here in this session, the structure and function of simple tissue we will discuss. Yes. Coming here, you can see the simple tissues. What are simple tissues? So, you can refer it as they are collection of similar cells with common function. While the tissues are deriving from meristematic tissue, there we can see or we heard about there are the tissues are permanent tissues and which are parenchymatous in origin. So here coming to the structure and function of simple tissue, first we have to reveal or recollect what it is and how it is. So naturally it is a similar group of cells, that is simple tissues are similar group of cells and they perform a particular or common function. Okay. Then there are different types of tissues coming under simple tissue. The first one is parenchyma, second one is collenchyma, third one is sclerenchyma. These are the major three kinds of tissues coming under simple tissue. So, in addition to that, we can see in the due course the simple tissue such as the parenchyma cells which are also present in the second group of tissues, that is in permanent tissue, that is the other one, that is the complex tissue. Even in complex tissue we can see the presence of simple tissue such as parenchyma. And coming to here, the first type of simple tissue is named as parenchyma. What are parenchyma? It constitute the fundamental tissue. What it is fundamental? Fundamental means it is the base. It is the base of or the ultimate, the part of the entire part of the plant body is structured by the parenchyma cells. That is why here we can see the parenchyma cells are named as fundamental tissue. Okay. So here wherever it is present. So what is parenchyma? It constitute the fundamental tissue and it is with the similar cells of having common function. Okay. So wherever it is distributed. So what it is and where it is. So here we can see it is present in, it is means the parenchyma cells present in the cortex, that is the cortical tissue system or the part of the plant. It occupies the cortex. Even in stem or root, it is constituted by the simple tissue which is called the parenchyma. So it is present in cortex and also the central cylinder or the vascular cylinder occupies the central part. It is also with the parenchyma cells, that is the pith is also constituted by the parenchyma cells. And similarly what we can see in a stem, the outermost region or the internal region, there are two regions, that is the central cylinder and the outer region. That is what it is, what are they? Actually the outer region to constitute epidermis, epidermal tissue system, cortex, cortical tissue system and the endodermis. And what it is the innermost layer of the outer zone. And the central cylinder, what are they? Including the pith, the xylem and phloem is the central part, and the central part is marked out from the outer region. It is with an outermost layer which is called a pericycle. So coming to here, the parenchyma cells which are present in cortex, pith and also the pericycle, that is the outermost layer of the central cylinder, which is also constituted or structured by this parenchyma cells, wherever it is of course in the stems and also in the root system. Okay. So, coming in addition to that, that is in addition to these areas in a plant body, the parenchyma cells which are also present in leaf mesophyll. So, leaf is one of the organ present in the plant body, and the mesophylls are the layers of leaf tissue, and here the leaf mesophyll is also constituted by this simple tissue, that is the parenchyma. And also the fruit pulp, what we can see a different kind of fruits which we can see, it is with the pulpy region, and the pulp which is constituted by the fruit pulp is constituted by the parenchyma cells. And similarly in a seed, the endosperm, it is the part of the seed, and the endosperm is constituted by also by the parenchyma cells. Okay. So, it is present, that is parenchyma is present in cortex, pit and pericycle, and it is also present in leaf mesophyll, fruit pulps, and also in the endoderm, endosperm of seeds. Okay. And in addition to that already I have mentioned that in addition to that, the complex tissue also shows the presence of these parenchyma, wherever it is named as xylem parenchyma and the phloem parenchyma. So, in the complex tissue also constituted, or the part or the derivatives in the complex tissue, it is organized by the presence of this simple tissue which is called the parenchyma. So, here what is the, so what it is and where it is and how it is. How it is means what is the structure. So, what we can see, these cells are isodiametric in shape. What is isodiametric? Almost all the cells are in the similar size and shape. Okay. So, it is called isodiametric in shape. And what is the speciality? Of course, the cells are, that is the parenchyma cells are thin walled cells and are living cells. So, these parenchyma is primarily, it is mentioned that they are the fundamental tissue. So, in a plant body, that is either in root or shoot or even in leaf or even the seed, it shows the presence of these parenchyma cells, and the structurally it is isodiametric in shape, thin walled, and also they are living cells. So, here these type or this type of parenchyma cells are generally three types. It is organized or differentiated into three types. So, what it is, coming to a review, what it is the collection of similar cells with a common function, and the first type of simple tissue is called parenchyma. It constitutes the fundamental tissue. Why? Because almost all the part of the plant body it is distributed, that is these parenchyma cells are distributed. Okay. So, it is also present in different areas of plant body, and they are with a specific structure, that is they are isodiametric in shape, thin walled, and also they are living cells. Okay. And are generally of three types. Why? How or why it is getting differentiated into three? According to the function. According to the function, these simple tissue or parenchyma cells are differentiated into three different types. As the first one is generally called as parenchyma cells, and what is the speciality? It is the fundamental tissue. So, here you can see the structural differentiation or structure of these parenchyma cells, how they are structured. That is, here you can see the structural differentiation, that is the structure of parenchyma cells. These are thin walled parenchyma cells. So, the cell wall is thin in nature. Okay. And the cells are isodiametric, and because almost the cells are in a similar shape, And what is the structure? Of course, each cell is having a small vacuole, and also it possesses the cytoplasm. And in addition to that, we can see the parenchyma cells are generally with intercellular spaces. Why? Because it is a living cell, and the prime function of parenchyma cells is what? Storage of food materials or storage of some ergastric or waste substances. So, the cell requires the expansion or elongation or in the enlargement. So, that is why we can see the cell is also with the intercellular spaces. While you are drawing these parenchyma cells, you remember that first of all you have to draw the broken lines. Here you can see in the diagram broken lines, and all the lines are almost equal in size, and you have to join the corners of each broken lines. Thereby you will get a isodiametric thin-walled cells with the intercellular spaces. The corners of the cell showing spaces, that is why it is called the intercellular spaces. So, this is structure of first type of parenchyma, that is coming under simple tissue. It is called parenchyma cells. And the second type is what? It is called parenchyma. Here in this diagram you can see this is also isodiametric cells, and they are also thin walled, and they may also show the intercellular spaces. In addition to the intercellular spaces, you can see there are some areas wherever the parenchyma cells are distributed, there some of the cells which is disintegrated and make a cavity or a space, and which are help for carrying or occupying air. So, such type of group of parenchyma cells with air space, and such type of parenchyma cell is called as parenchyma. Okay, and the third one is chlorenchyma. This is also the same as parenchyma. It is with the thin-walled cells with the intercellular spaces, and it also shows the isodiametric in shape, and in addition to that those group of cells which have the green pigment, and such cells occupying green pigment in the cell which are called what? The chlorenchyma. Okay, coming to the conclusion, what we can see in permanent tissue, there are two types of tissues are generally formed. One is called simple tissue, and second one is called complex tissue. In simple tissue, the first type of cells are named as parenchyma, and these are fundamental tissue and which are distributed in cortex, pith, pericycle, and also in leaf mesophyll, fruit pulp, and endoderm, endosperm of seeds, and also in the complex tissue such as xylem and phloem as what? Xylem parenchyma and the phloem parenchyma. And what is the structural nature? They are isodiametric, thin-walled, and also living cells, and there are majorly grouped into three. One is generally the parenchyma cells, and the second one is parenchyma, and third one is chlorenchyma. So, now we can conclude in this session. Okay, thank you.